let's slowly get started then.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's get started. So this session three, our question toy is how do we stay innocent as seniors? And on the left hand side we have Vivian. So 皆さん大きな拍手で Vivian、アクサダマカの Vivian が左側。And on the right side is Oli from PayPay Cards. Thank you very much for coming.
ありがとうございます。
Okay, so now it's all on you guys. So take it away.
Should we do a quick self-intro
Yeah,
or?
sure. Okay, I can start. Hello, everyone. I'm Vivian. I work in AXA Japan, the insurance company. So maybe just a little bit background. I feel I have quite typical designer career. I went to the design school, then I started out as graphic designer, then kind of transitioned into web designer, then more UI UX. And 7 years ago, I started working in AXA Japan, and just recently, about 7 months ago, I was promoted to be the UX manager. Now I'm leading a transversal UX team. There are 7 people in my team, and then we are supporting all different products. So yeah, I guess I can tell myself is a senior. I've been working in design for more than 10 years. Yeah. And Oliver, how
So
about
yeah,
you?
Vivian, maybe you have a senior role. I more have the senior image, perhaps. So yeah, hi everyone. My name's Ollie. I'm from New Zealand. I've been in Japan about 25 years. And I guess that kind of makes me senior. Currently, I'm working at PayPay Card. So I joined this April. Before that, I was working in Nikkei for 8 years, starting with mobile version of Dentiban, then more recently working on a 0 to 1 business intelligence tool. Before that, I worked in a tiny design agency, startup, freelance. I'm currently a product manager. I've also worked as UXD, user research, information architecture, front-end engineer. Um, so yeah, moving on to innocence. What do we mean by innocence?
Yeah, it's actually kind of interesting because we're kind of bouncing out ideas like what to talk about in this toy. And then we were talking about, okay, we're both like managers, like doing UX manager or like, product manager. And then, what kind of similarity with our career. And I feel well, I think as you get more seniors, a lot of those talk or the skills you need to develop, it's all about like it's all tying to productivity or leadership or maturities, but I guess we don't really talk about like innocence, like playfulness or be open, be curious. So I thought like, yeah, it's quite an interesting topic, like how do we stay innocent as a senior, and I guess why it is becoming more difficult to stay innocent. Yeah, but how about you, like what's innocent for you?
Well, the profile picture here is actually from quite a long time ago. So maybe this is me being all young and passionate, and there's only one true way to do things. And we're going to do it the right way because, it's the industry standard, or, that's the way that Silicon Valley companies are doing things. So I think when you start in your career, of course, there's some time to uh, get familiar with your career, to skill up, but then you often end up having quite strong or passionate opinions. And then if you crash into the shores of a Japanese company, maybe your passion can get a little washed away. And I think for me, yeah, I spent 8 years in Nikkei, which is definitely a Japanese company. When I joined the company, I had the feeling I'm going to help this massive historic company just with my own small contribution, my little strength that I have, I'm going to help them steer the super tanker away from the cliff of, the future of the media industry. And I think to start with, we were able to do some pretty impressive stuff, but over time, it's easy to get worn down and maybe to feel that you can't make progress. And I think this is an interesting aspect because as we get more senior, we also become more aware of the business needs or
Definitely.
the company requirements that pay our salaries. And having to balance that, I think, can be quite a difficult task. So especially for you, you're now, maybe when you started as a designer, you're all full of passion and enthusiasm, and then maybe some mean manager is like, no, you can't do that. We don't have time, or we don't have the resources, or there's this deadline. Business needs this now. But now maybe you are the mean manager, right?
Exactly. I was going to say that. I think when I first started, like you say, just passionate. And then I feel designer mostly have a stubborn quality. Like we're all pretty stubborn. Like we're so passionate about our design. We want to, be like the customer centricity is the only, goals. And this is the only thing we have in mind. So it's either like 100% or zero. I think a lot of designers have that mentality. I feel I also used to have. And then that made me fearless and just, when I remember when I first got into a really big project, I was questioning a lot about like, why this project is going this way. How can we even release this product without any research? This is just like, how do we know if the user actually gonna use it or not? And I feel like the things I was willing to challenge and then, willing to like questions, to be honest, I also noticed myself, it's become less and less as I become seniors. Especially now I'm become the manager, and then it's really something I mean, I have to work with a lot of different teams, and then I also see there's different teams have different perspective. There's a different KPIs, and then I need to be able to know how to work with them. So sometimes it's just become harder and harder, and then I see my team members, and now I think they are quite stubborn. It's like, why can't we just work, better, and then try to meet the deadline? Why you're thinking about all those different ideas, and then try to push for the boundary when, like, probably in my mind, I feel like I've seen this so many times. I know it's not gonna work, so maybe we just let it go. So then I become the ones that, trying to like kind of tell them not to do it. Yeah. So it is become more difficult.
I think for me, I made as much progress as I could in my last job. And eventually it felt like it's getting difficult to remember this young, innocent me who was all passionate about doing things the right way. And in my case, it ended up being a change in employer. And now I'm a new person in a company. And of course, they're going through lots of changes as well. I think PayPay has a very good reputation for UX design. PayPay Card is maybe not quite as far along that journey yet, even though, of course, we have strong ambitions and a great example in PayPay, the group company. So I feel like for me, this is a way that I can maybe try to get a fresh take on my approach to my career.
Right. Because I'm also quite curious. You say you're in Nikkei for quite a long time. Do you feel it is harder to stay innocent in the corporate culture, especially a Japanese corporate culture?
Yes. Sorry to all the senior managers in the audience, but it can be quite difficult. And I think this is also a really interesting thing. Like, why do perhaps we find it difficult? Is that something that perhaps all of us have struggled with? Or is that more something that we are bringing because we're not Japanese? Like there's one idea that maybe if we're talking about things like agile versus waterfall, agile is very popular and considered a best practice because that's what all the Silicon Valley companies do, and they're very successful. But does agile actually work for Japanese culture? Maybe Japanese people and Japanese society is better aligned with waterfall.
Yeah, I definitely see that, especially working in an insurance company. I mean, AXA is not Japanese company, but I don't know, 80% of people working there are Japanese, so it's pretty much a Japanese company, I feel. And then I think we try to do agile maybe, I don't know, like ever since I joined the company, which is 7 years ago, and we're still calling ourselves, we're transitioning into agile. But then now as I again like work longer and work more, have more experience, I can also see that sometimes maybe because the cultural aspect, like waterfall does work better. You know, everything is within the scope and within the deadline. And then I think it gives people the confidence, and then also, you know, they know what to expect. It, instead of agile, I think there's a lot of unknown, and maybe I don't know. I guess we have to ask the Japanese here. Like in the unknown cultural aspect, it's kind of difficult to proceed. Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I think for PayPay Group, we are also mainly using waterfall. But I think there's, and this is probably the same in AXA, there's benefits because if you have a lot of regulatory oversight, like if you need to check the legal contracts and maybe like report to the financial regulation industry,
Yes.
maybe you don't have the ability to just ship things quickly. Sometimes it does take extra work. And I think, yeah, recently PayPay Group is now considered financial infrastructure. So we can't move fast and break things because we don't want to break the Japanese economy. So
Right,
maybe
definitely.
waterfall is a bit more appropriate for perhaps
Right.
our corporate perspective.
There's also a lot of probably similar. There's, you know, a long process of legal check, compliance check. There's so many different checks that you have to go through before you can actually develop and release. And then I think a lot of time it just doesn't allow to be more flexible, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah. And in the previous project I worked at, we were calling it agile, but it was like agile in name only. So
Exactly the same. It's the same
didn't
with
get any
every
benefits
company,
of the
yes.
agile side, but also none of the benefits of if we had been
Yes,
doing
yeah.
waterfall. So maybe, yeah, maybe in this case it actually works better.
Definitely.
So getting back to our topic, like how do you maintain this duality of now you're a senior manager, you're mentoring younger staff, you're responsible to your stakeholders for business metrics. You've got all of that sort of business side that you have to attend to, manager side. How do you maintain that young, innocent, passionate child in the background?
Yes, it's quite difficult, but it's really similar to, I think section one talk a little bit about this. I think as you become more senior, it is because people see you as expert. And a lot of time I feel it is harder for me to say, oh, I don't know. Because they come to you, you're a senior, they come to you to find the answers. And then it is harder for me to say I don't know, especially if it's, you know, it's even harder for me to say I don't know, like in front of my team. But then a lot of time I feel like it just kind of need to be okay with that, because I think the more senior you get, especially I think the longer the manager role you're gonna stay in, the less, you know, you're actually doing the individual contributor the work. So the less I see you become, you're gonna get, I think, out of the loop with new technologies, and then there's gonna be people who are much younger, can learn so much faster than you. And I think for me, it's important to understand it is okay to say I don't know, and it's also okay to, just leave it to my team member and then kind of in a way trust them in what they do, and then not, trying to just assume things happen and then kind of help them to or make the decision for them. I think sometimes it's kind of difficult because even I feel like, okay, maybe 90% I know they're gonna fall, but then at the same time it's like maybe they just have to fall, and then maybe there's 10% they are gonna succeed. So, but you just need to let them do. I feel that's one thing I kind of keep myself grounded to stay innocent. Just try to be okay with saying I don't know and ask, just let my team member to do their things as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Mm.
I think in the previous session, Yamanin-san also mentioned kind of being inspired by the people she was managing. And I'm sure this is something for you as well, right?
Yeah,
The
definitely.
passion of the young designers. Like,
Yes, yes.
keep
So
that.
it's actually quite interesting. So whenever we have a new hire, we ask the designer to go through our product to ask them what's wrong with this. Anything you have, if you see like 100 things that is wrong, and then just go ahead and raise it. And then I feel I also learned a lot about this because this product is something I've been working for so long. So I feel, again, as seniors, sometimes it's just easier to like dismiss things or, like you in the blind spot, but having like people who come up with the fresh ideas with fresh set of eyes, and then just try to be open about this, I think is quite important as well. Okay. Hello.
Hey, this is Ten no Koi.
Okay. Hello, God.
So, talking about innocence, I think innocence mainly comes from the state of not knowing, right?
Mm.
They don't like younger people, they don't know, they don't have the experience. So it's kind of like an adventure for them, right? It's kind of
Right.
the game of knowing, and there's delight there. And I think when seniors say, innocence is important, or like they want to maintain innocence, they kind of want to maybe erase their memories or which is impossible, right? So it's either like Oli, you changed your environment, or um but then I think when seniors say talk about innocence, I think there's another beauty that you guys knowing things but still want to be innocent. It's like a new state.
Mm.
But um what do you think is like the next level innocence?
Next level innocence.
Like you are it's contradictory, right? Because like you're knowing, but you're talking about innocence. Because
Right.
but what's your thought on this? Like, how do you what do you really mean by it? Kind of comes back to the first question. What do you mean by innocence? Because
Mm.
so you could put the
Yeah, sorry. Okay.
Wow, that's a
So,
heavy
that's an
question from
interesting,
God.
I know. Interesting question from God. You want to take on this?
I can't remember the poet's name or even the quote, but I remember there's this quote about someone who fought in World War One about how if you go through lots of hardships in your life, you'll eventually come back to where you started and be able to see that place as it is for the first time. Like when we start off, maybe we don't know everything, and that can lead you to have a lot of challenges. Like, why can't we do it the right way? Why can't we, put the time in for the user research, or, why can't we have extra time to do it properly, to do it to the level we want to do it before shipping? But that innocence can also give you the ability to do things that maybe a more experienced person wouldn't even try. Like you don't know that it's going to fail. So maybe you try it and maybe sometimes it even works.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, what's the next level innocence? So what can we bring to this is having that dualism of trying to have both ideas in your mind at the same time. Like, here are all the business needs and requirements and deadlines and KPIs, but then nurturing your innocence and your passion and your creativity and being able to combine them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's similar to what I think as well. Because again, as we are more senior, we see more things. We see things more broadly. Not just our own team. What's the product thing? What's their goal? What's the business their goals? But I also so a lot of time we have to do a lot of compromise or try to work together and then pick our battles to fight as well. Because if we try to fight every single product battle, probably we all have done this and then you just burn out at the end. So I think that's also important. And then we want to build relationships so we can fight for the next battle. But then I feel at the end, like even we have different priorities, different perspective, but I really believe everyone is towards the same goal, which is we want to produce a good product for the customer to use. So we just have different, again, goals, KPIs, and perspective. But if we can find the common ground, like, that fits all the perspectives and then still fit into the overall general goal, I think that's quite important. So I feel, yeah, like you say, just try to find that balance is quite important to stay innocent, but then also like, be able to work with other people as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that point. I feel like if we can build trust with our stakeholders, maybe initially they're not willing to listen to us so much,
Right.
but over time, once we've established that trust, I think it becomes easier for them to give our ideas more consideration.
Yeah, and then I think this is something I tell my designers a lot as well is, try to push as much you could, but then also remember there is a deadline, there is a release schedule, so we cannot just like not ignore it and then really push for our agenda. Like we need to work with other teams and then to see the overall pictures, but then within that, I think we should try to push as much as we can, like to really to go for what we truly believe in. And then as a designer, we want to, again, build a customer-centric product. And I think it's important to do the negotiation. And then I also feel sometimes they don't accept the ideas. Maybe they're just not really educated. They're not mature enough. And then maybe that's our job to, to tell them and then to educate it more about like UX and why it's important as well. Yeah.
Another thing that I've been thinking about after changing jobs is using principles as a way to maybe maintain my ability to have that dualism.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, so like I think principles can be things within your team or your company, and if you have an agreement in your team that this thing is very important, so we're all going to work to maintain it, like that can be really powerful and it can help you stay on the right path. And I think we
Right.
can also have that personally as well. So, wanting to fight for the user is one of mine, for example. Like, what about for you? Do you have some principles you're sticking with, or?
Right. I guess we talk a little bit about this. So for me, kind of similar situation. I also just changed to a new role like 7 months ago. So I feel I'm still also looking for, trying to search what's the good principle for myself and for my team. But kind of going back to, how to stay innocent. And then for me, I also recently feel like learning is so important because again, as you become more senior and then for me, manager, oh my God, it's like seriously the past 7 months, I think I have so many overtimes and then there are just a lot of things that I feel it's important and then I have to do and it's like, so really like, chaotic. But then I feel like if I just try to deal with whatever is come to me and then not, try to stay or try to be curious about things and then try to, improve myself. Again, then I cannot really provide the answers or can not really communicate in a way that can convince people. So what I try to do right now is even it's still very busy, but try to prioritize things that I do need the time to always try to learn and train for myself. Otherwise, I think I cannot grow as a senior. I just kind of stop there and then always kind of stick to what I was good at or what I know. Then yeah, I think then you cannot really think outside of the box. Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I really resonate with that. I feel like uh, continuing to learn or to try and teach yourself things, like that's an excellent way to have that beginner's mindset. Like,
Mm.
um,
Do you find time to do that?
well, I mean, I feel like maybe as you get more senior, you get expected to do things that are theoretically not really in your job description.
Yeah.
So, like last year, I taught myself how to be a junior data analyst because we didn't have one. And now I feel like I'm teaching myself how to be a lawyer.
Right.
So
With the contract and everything.
yeah, for contract fun. I feel like those frustrations of going back to not knowing anything, like that can help me to empathize with others in the team or with more junior people. And I think that's really important as we get more senior to maintain our empathy with the other people in our organization. And having a more sort of hierarchy-less approach as you do get into positions of power. I mean, it's not my situation yet, but I think that's also really important because even if we are sort of expected to give the right answers, like you said, it's really powerful saying, I don't know, what do you think? Or to learn from your team, like have your team teach you new things. Because the team, if they're the independent contributors, they're the ones that are doing the hands-on work. They probably know more about the
Yes.
problems than the people managing them who are further away from the real work. So yeah, I
Yeah.
really resonate with that.
I think exactly what you said. I feel before my image of leader or what to be a good manager is like I need to be the person in the front and then like really kind of lead everyone to do things. But then now think about it, it could be, I mean, everyone had different leadership style, but I also feel like, being a leader, actually staying in the back and then like, kind of holding up. So they are the one actually pushing and then, trying to like go for things. And then I'm just there in the back supporting. I feel that kind of leadership now, I feel, I'm trying to like transition to become that. Then again, I think that go back to you need to be able to trust the people and then allow them to succeed and allow them to fail. Yeah. Hello, God.
Hello, I'm God. I hate to interrupt, but you guys, it's time.
Ooh.
And this conversation has been super interesting. I'm sorry I threw you a very hard question.
Good question.
Tried to be the Yoitoi guy. But yeah, thank you very much, and let's keep the conversation going for the evening session or the break time. But in the meanwhile, thank you very much for your candid conversation. Let's have a round of applause to Vivian and Oli. Vivian and Oli.
Thank you very much, everyone.
もう一度大きな拍手を。はい。面白い話でしたね。